Hey guys, we're gonna do 2 tier lists, one today, one tomorrow. Today's tier list is gonna be ranking the best teams in the game in version 3.0. It is very important to start off with a team tier list, because we have to figure out what teams are how good, which characters are actually the best in slots for the best teams in the game, in order for us to judge individual characters accordingly. And that's why today we're gonna start off with a team tier list. Before we kick things off, I wanted to share with you something that I personally find very hilarious. So I bought this mousepad right here, and when I set things up, it happened so that my keyboard is staying on top of Verton's face. And it is very hilarious, because if you look closely at the expression that Sonetto gives with this keyboard on top. Anyways, sorry about that. So let's start things off with an honorable mention, and this one goes to the Poison team. I would call this the number 6 best team in the game. Yeah, it's a little bit debatable, but it's my honorable mention because I think it's the number 6th best team in the game in version 3.0. So yeah, of course this team evolves all around Willow, Tuesday and Sotheby. Those 3 are must-haves and irreplaceable. The 4th slot, the support slot, is where this team becomes a little bit more versatile. The best in slot here, generally speaking, is definitely Jessica. Although it depends a little bit on the content. If you would like or would need to add a little bit more of survivability, you can easily play this team with Kakania as well, and you're gonna be perfectly fine. Another mention I want to make here is Hisabeth. If you would be in this very weird situation of not owning Jessica and also not owning Kakania, but you have Hisabeth, right? Like, that's in very niche scenario, but if that would occur to you, you would be fine to also play this team with Hisabeth. But yeah, the best in slots here are Willow, Tuesday, Jessica and Sotheby, with Kakania as a substitute depending on the content. Alright, let's move on to the top 5 best teams in the game. And the first Oscar goes to the Ultimate Archetype team. This team evolves around Recoleta and Melania as the core. And then in version 3.0, Getian is gonna take the best in slot for the support slot in this team, away from low para. You can, depending on the content, add Beast Afflatus characters here, in case the stage would benefit from you using Beast Afflatus DPS characters. You can replace Getian then with Muldia, who is very certain also gonna be better than low para, and she did a whole bunch of damage, is a Beast Afflatus. And the same goes for Centurion. If the content would really require it and you would highly benefit from it, you can replace the main DPS Recoleta and add in Centurion. So there you go. The best in slots here are obviously Recoleta, Melania and Getian, with the supports for the main DPS Centurion, and Getian can be replaced by Muldia. The reason why this team quote-unquote only takes 5th place is because they lack a healer. They simply don't have a healer that would benefit them a lot, and that holds them back a little bit. They are still waiting for a release or for a Euphoria. Like, they need some best in slot healer here, and the fact that they don't have that yet leaves them at 5th place. Moving into the 4th place, we have the follow-up team. Surprise, surprise. This team evolves around the best in slots here are Jiu Nyangje, Pickles, Flutterpage and Fatutu. Now this is a team that is very versatile and has some more substitute options than any other team in this game. You can replace Gyu and Pickles, for example. You have to keep in mind that if you replace Gyu, you also have to replace Pickles, otherwise that wouldn't make any sense and Pickles would be completely wasted. So keep that in mind. And you can do so by, if you remove Gyu and Pickles, then you can add in characters like Liang Yue, 37 and even Anyonala, for that matter. You can also keep Gyu and only get rid of Pickles in case you have Gyu, but then for some reason, don't have Pickles. Then you can replace Pickles with 37 or Liang Yue or Anyonala and you're gonna be completely fine. The core here is Flutterpage and Fatutu. And I wanna mention again why the follow-up team is above the ultimate team in these rankings is because the ultimate archetype team doesn't have a healer, while the follow-up team has Fatutu. And I think I don't need to explain why this is such a massive difference, and putting the follow-up team higher than the ultimate team because of that reason is completely justified. But there you go. We have Gyu, Pickles, Flutterpage and Fatutu as the 4 best in slots, as the best follow-up attack team in this game. And we have the substitutes Liang Yue, 37 and even Anyonala if you really wanted to. Next up in our place number 3 at the 3rd best team in the game in version 3.0 is the Impromptu lineup, of course. I mean, who are the top 3 should honestly be crystal clear to everyone out there at this point. So the Impromptu team is based around the best in slots here are Baccarola, probably gonna be Regulus, Aleph and Kiparina. Now, let's talk first of all about Voyager and Regulus. Regulus is coming in with her Euphoria in version 2.8 and is probably gonna be a tiny little bit better than Voyager will be. It is gonna be such a low difference though that it will barely even matter at all. So you can play whoever you want here. What is really important and the key part, and without the other 3 characters in this team becomes a whole lot worse. Of course, as it is with every single team out there, you need first of all the main DPS. That is Baccarola. If you don't have that, you don't have a main DPS and you will lack a whole lot of damage. And you know what her ultimate does and everything. I covered how to play the Impromptu team, and you know why Quartet is extremely important and a huge min-max option to play this team to maximum efficiency. And then if you don't have Aleph, right? He doesn't have any replacement. You cannot replace Aleph with anything. You would then need to put in both Regulus and Voyager, or you have to play the 5-star Matilda, and that's not gonna work. Especially Aleph's ultimate is a core part of you being able to really get the maximum efficiency out of your inspiration, out of the archetype Impromptu, That's why Aleph is the support and he's incredibly important. Without him, this team loses a whole lot of viability. And this fact becomes even more true, way more true, in fact, if we look about Kiparina. If you don't have Kiparina, this team would barely even take the honorable mention. I mean, as I said, that is accurate. It will barely even would become the honorable mention here. It would barely make this list if you don't have Kiparina, because what always was the weakness for the Impromptu lineup is that they don't have any sustain, and Kiparina is the only character in the game that provides some form of sustain to this Impromptu team. And not only that, she provides very significant and very good survivability. She is the reason that this team becomes meta. So you see that you have to have Baccarola. You would extremely highly giga value if you have Aleph, and you need Kiparina. That like those are this is really a core. The only slot that is versatile, let me say it like that, is Voyager and Regulus, like the sub DPS slot here. That's a little bit versatile, but everything else is extremely important, and you have to have these characters. Really, I have to put emphasis on this, because without these three characters, Baccarola, Aleph and Kiparina, this team is not third place, right? I just wanted to make that really crystal clear. But yeah, now we can move on. Okay, then the second best team in the game in version 3.0 is gonna be, you guessed it, the Dynamo Archetype, of course, especially with Sharon. Like, okay, let's talk about it a little bit. First of all, this team is gonna be Lucy, Ulrich, Sharon and Ezra. No one here is replaceable aside from Sharon. You can replace him with Mercuria, that would be your best replacement, and Muldir is also very beneficial for this team as well. But Sharon is a very, very busted character and improves this team by a whole lot, you know. This team prior to version 3.0 was lacking their support slot. A support that can actually not only provide Dynamo, but yeah, I mean, all the things that Sharon does. This is an absolutely incredible character. And what I want to mention is that this team right here with Sharon is extremely close to taking first place, actually, if you don't also have Sentinel for the Blood Ember team. Spoiler alert, Blood Ember is gonna be the best team in the game. I think that is no secret and not even a spoiler at this point anymore. So if you would have Sharon for the Dynamo Archetype team and you don't have Sentinel for the Blood Ember team, then in this case Dynamo is very, very close to actually take first place. I wouldn't quite give it to them, but again, like, almost a little bit nitpicking here. So you have to keep that in mind. This team is absolutely incredibly busted, especially with Sharon. And again, we play Lucy as the main DPS, we have Ulrich as the sub DPS, and Ezra is gonna be the only healer. Those three are must-haves and they are irreplaceable. Then by far the best in slot is Sharon. After that would come in Mercuria, and if you don't have these two but you have Muldir, then you play Muldir, and that's gonna be it for the Dynamo Archetype team. Now let's take a look at Blood Ember. And here we have it, the Blood Ember team. This team is gonna be king, and this is gonna be the best team in the game all the way up to version 3.0, and will stay as the best team in the game for quite a while. Yeah. So the best in slots here are Nautica and Semmelweis. This is the absolute core and must-have. And then Sentinel and Medicine Pocket take the best in slot. You can also play this team as Nautica, Semmelweis with Flutterpage and Fatutu. I just want to mention it real quick. This is the case with pretty much every single team, but you want Flutterpage and Fatutu for a different team that I mentioned earlier, because there they thrive much more than they would in this Blood Ember team. And yeah, as I said, like, the core here is Nautica and Semmelweis. Sentinel, I mean, wow, yeah, saying replaceable is stretching it a little bit, because she's so much better than Eternity that, boy, it's a huge difference there. But in theory, if you don't have any resources left, or you think the Blood Ember team would be already good enough without Sentinel, and just keeping Eternity there would also actually be very, very reasonable. It would still stay as the best team in the game, even with Eternity instead of Sentinel. And then, yeah, Medicine Pocket is kind of a staple. Yeah, of course, like you can put in Fatutu there, but as I said, like you want Fatutu for the follow-up team. You could replace Medicine Pocket with Ezra as well, excuse me, but you want Ezra, you need Ezra in fact for the Dynamo Archetype team, so Medicine Pocket is also kind of a must-have here, I'm gonna be honest. And yeah, that is gonna be it. As I said, like if you do not play Sentinel in this team, but you use Eternity, and then the Dynamo team has Sharon, then it becomes a very, very close battle, and yeah, we will see how this actually plays out in the end. I think no one will beat the combination of Nautica and Semmelweis. I think this is gonna be still first place, even if this team plays Eternity, but we gotta wait and see how this plays out. And yeah, that's gonna be it. We have our clear top 3. Yeah, now with Sharon, we have even a clear top 2. And after this top 2, there's a little bit of a gap. Then there comes Impromptu. And then there's a little bit of a gap as well, if you have the perfect before mentioned Impromptu lineup. And that's gonna be about it, guys. I hope that was fun and informative. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate that. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.